Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Scumdogs Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's Cryptid Corner mini episode, I have a couple of strange stories, folks. One, an unknown voice that sounded like the witness's mother, but wasn't, and another article detailing if aliens are attracted to human intimacy and love, and we'll read all about it when we finally get to it, folks. Both stories are interesting, so let's start off with the first article. The voice that wasn't my mother. Was it a skinwalker? New Mexico mimicry encounter raises chilling questions. Let's get into the article now. There are moments when a familiar voice calls out to you and every instinct insists should be impossible, leaving your mind scrambling to explain what you just heard. This encounter begins with a simple name being spoken and ends with a terrifying realization that something inside the house was imitating a loved one perfectly. That was quite the opening, folks. Let's hear the entirety of it now. This incident occurred in December of 2024. Let me set the scene. I was 18, visiting my parents' house in north central Mexico after being away for a long time, studying in another city. My mother had a sore throat and her voice was low and raspy. I was playing Sonic Rush in my old bedroom, which was decorated in blue and had a window overlooking the enclosed patio on the left side of the house. So everything sounds completely normal, doesn't it, folks, so far? But things were going to take a drastic turn. So let's continue with this witness's account. While I was engrossed in my game, I started hearing my mother calling my name loudly from the patio near the washing machine. Without looking outside, I asked, "What's wrong, Mom?" She didn't answer, but repeated my name. I thought it was typical motherly behavior. She wouldn't tell me what she wanted when she called me. Deciding to check on her, I went through the hallway that led to the kitchen. When I entered the kitchen, I saw my mother there asking me what was wrong and why I was called. "What? I didn't call you. Are you crazy?" she said, her voice still raspy. And that was when the witness realized something was wrong, folks. When he realized the voice he heard, it sounded like his mom, but it sounded like she was completely healthy. She didn't have the rasp because this voice, whoever it belonged to, wasn't sick. So this is probably the thought that just went through this man's voice. So let's read on and see if I'm right here, folks. At that moment, I realized I had heard a voice that sounded just like my mother's, her normal voice, not the sickly one she had at the moment. There are no other women in my family besides my mom, so that it couldn't have been a sister. It was doubtful that it was a neighbor either, as I wouldn't share my mother's accent from her hometown far away. So, that is indeed a fact there, folks, that went through this man's mind. But even I didn't say basically that the accent was different. So, whatever this voice was, it perfectly mimicked his mother's accent. So that is strange. Let's finish off this article and talk a little more, maybe. The most unsettling part was that my father, who doesn't believe in such things, was also a bit freaked out. It couldn't have been my imagination since I heard the voice multiple times enough to prompt me to go to the patio. This was the only time anything like that has ever happened to me. Okay, so it sounds like neither the father nor the son here are of Navajo descent, folks. But usually with skinwalkers, it usually has something to do with basically people of Navajo or basically Native American descent. But I wouldn't be surprised if this was a skinwalker, folks, because it has that creepy vibe. Either way, let's move on to the next article. Does human intimacy arouse alien beings? When passion opens a door, they were already watching. Let's read this article and find out, folks, because it sounds truly enthralling. Moments of human intimacy have a strange way of attracting attention from forces that do not belong in our bedrooms, and this case suggests the connection runs deeper than coincidence. What unfolded after the blackout on that October night hints at an intelligence that studies us at our most vulnerable moments and may choose those moments to intervene. Let's get into the entire account now, folks. Hello, on October 12th, 1987, at my fiance's house in Somerville, Indiana, at approximately 11:45 p.m., my fiance Darren and I were in bed in the middle of intimacy when we both apparently blacked out at the same time. The following morning, we were awakened by my mother, who was knocking on the screen door. It was raining, and the main entry door was unlocked and wide open. The lights inside the house were all on. We had locked the doors and shut off all of the lights before going to bed the night before. My mother said she heard metal clanging sounds when she came to the door. We had a new stovepipe laying on the living room floor as we were preparing to install a new furnace. She also heard what sounded to her like an old man coughing in a deep tone. Now, this so far doesn't sound that different to other accounts I've heard before, folks, because there is a phenomena where people see very bizarre things when they're with their spouses on Lover's Lane, folks. There have been cases of people, on dates encountering Bigfoot, aliens, and such entities, or having situations like the one described here. But let's read on and discuss this fact later. When we finally came to, we were both naked and laying in two different directions on the bed. Both of us had tremendous headaches and a feeling that something strange had happened to us, but we did not talk about it. For the next 2 days, when we each tried to think about what had happened, our minds couldn't focus on the event. After some time had passed, we both realized that we could remember right up to the exact moment that we both blacked out. It had happened right in the middle of sex, and we had blacked out at the same time. 2 months later, I found out I was pregnant, and I would have conceived around this time date. Also, I was on birth control pills at the time. Okay, that's odd, folks. I mean, she was on birth control pills, but she got pregnant nonetheless. Did these aliens intervene and make sure that she was pregnant? For what reason would they decide to do so, folks? That is incredibly odd, and I don't understand why. But either way, truly a bizarre story so far, folks. Let's read on, as I said, and hear the rest of this witness's account. A few months later, in February 1988, we were asleep when I was awakened at 2:48 a.m. by a small gray wrinkled-looking being. He had large eyes, no nose, and just a slit where his mouth should have been. He was standing about 4 feet from the bed, just staring at me. He had a solid, dark-colored outfit on. It looked like a one-piece jumpsuit. I tried to wake Darren, but was unable to move. I tried to scream for him, but was only able to make a whimpering sound at that time. Darren rolled over towards me, and the being just faded out of existence. I told Darren what I had seen, and we finally got back to sleep. At exactly 4:48 a.m., 2 hours later, I was again awakened by the same small gray being. I lay there looking at him for probably 3 to 4 minutes. I can only imagine what that would have been like. She was frightened before, folks. Was this even worse? I don't know, but there's also a note, folks, so let's read that. It seems that greys and other alien races have a habit of popping up during intimacy. David Eckhart stated that this happened to him and his wife on several occasions. There are many documented cases of similar activity, including participations. Well, that's interesting, folks. It sounds like sometimes aliens like to basically have orgies with humans. Now, if they were incredibly busty and hot, folks, that sounds like it would be nice, but you have to remember that maybe these alien beings are manipulating our minds, or they're wearing some sort of human skin suits and only appear human on the outside. Though I do believe that there are humanoid aliens that do exist, folks. Either way, it could be that this is a good thing. Maybe they are, trying to connect with humans on an imminent level, I suppose, but I can't be for sure. There are too many stories of so-called human-alien hybrids for that notion to be completely, comfortable with, folks. I mean, maybe they're trying to basically learn more about humans, but it almost at times seems like rape. I mean, I can talk of one account where this guy was jumped by these two women. He fought back and they disappeared right before his eyes. He said there was something alien and off about them, like they had larger than normal eyes, and some people think they could have been basically, fairies or ultra-terrestrials or some sort of alien-human hybrids as well. Either way, a very interesting notion, isn't it, folks? That these aliens are so interested in sex with humans, and that usually means they're interested in making some sort of offspring or something. Either way, folks, we're at the end, so please go subscribe to my YouTube channel, Read Comics That Are Bad For You. You can use the YouTube link down below in the descriptions of the chat to go subscribe to me. Hit that like button for me. Make sure you're still subscribed. Leave some comments down below. Hit that bell for notifications. Make sure at the part of the bell that'll give you all future notifications, and please share this video out. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow with another great video, so be sure to come back again then. Till next time, folks, I'll see you all again soon.